Hey everybody, this is Jason Rogash. I want to make a video today about Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm a huge football fan. I played football my entire life. I played all sports. No big deal. I love Colin Kaepernick's athleticism. I enjoyed him watching him at Nevada, and he had a couple of good years. Had a couple, 3-4 good years in the NFL. He went to the Super Bowl. He struggled a little bit last year, the season before, some injuries and some other stuff. I don't know how well he fits into Chip Kelly's offense in San Francisco. It's more of a, get the ball out of your hand quick, let the playmakers do their plays, but we'll see. But his football ability is not what this video is about. This video is about yesterday at the preseason football game, he did not stand up or acknowledge or look up for the national anthem. And he said afterwards that the reason he did this was because there are bodies on the streets, laying in the streets, and people are getting paid leave, meaning the police have been oppressing people of color, and he goes on and said more. I'll leave a link to his comments below. First of all, kudos to him. It takes a lot of courage in corporate America to come out against the government that way. And to come out against the police force and against the system is a very, 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 very wonderful thing to do, and it's courageous, and it's awesome, and it's great when people of authority in a position that can really affect change. The reason I say that is because sports are so crucial to affecting change. Sports have helped racial relations in this country tremendously. I grew up, like I said, playing sports. My symbols of power were all black dudes. Okay, I watched basketball and football. They were my two favorite sports, and baseball. I mean, from everybody, you can make fun of me, but I grew up in the 80s. Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, we know how they turned out. But even to Barry Bonds to Bobby Bonilla, Christ's sake, I was a Mets fan. The Bears, I grew up loving Walter Payton, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, Wilbur Marshall, Otis Wilson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. The great athletes are all African-American. That's just a fact. A lot of really good white guys, but really the great ones in my generation have been black. Michael Jordan, etc. I didn't grow up watching tennis or golf or NASCAR or open wheel racing or hockey. I grew up in Alaska, but I fucking do not watch hockey and really don't understand or care about hockey. I watched football, and that was dominated by black dudes. And I also loved boxing, and I liked the Olympics when I was younger, the running. All black dudes still dominate it. And that goes a long way from a kid like me who grew up in Alaska and had black friends but wasn't surrounded by a ton of black people. The black population in Alaska is a little larger. We were a little more diverse because of the military bases up here. So we were always so that was a good thing. But really, I grew up in Alaska, so it was predominantly white people or Native Alaskans, but mostly white people that I was surrounded by. And it's become incredibly more diverse now, and that's just a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. And because it brings in other cultures, and then we can actually have culture. White people we tend to be transient. American culture, not European culture, American culture, white people culture is like, Afghans and fucking pizza? Shitty foods, shitty high carbohydrate foods. What exactly is a white American culture? Quilting? Antiquing? I'm not really sure what we are sometimes. Anyway, I'm just being funny. I know there's tons of great things about being an American white person. But, NASCAR for one. I grew up around, I played sports, so I was always around, like I said, I loved sports and played sports. I was always seeing and always was around black guys. And black men, particularly professional athletes, were impactful to me. I remember doing when I was too young to have seen it, but when John Carlos and Tommy Smith, they raised the black power salute at the Olympics. When Muhammad Ali would come out and talk and say, no Vietnamese person ever called me the N-word. Things like that. When there would be other athletes that I'm forgetting that would come out and make social comments. I always respected that. Jim Brown. I didn't like the way Jim Brown treated women necessarily, but he did say he was telling truths. And when you speak truth to power, it often can cost you. And for an African-American athlete like Colin Kaepernick to come out and speak truth to power and say, this is what's going on, and this is the symbol of oppression, which is the national anthem, then I applaud that. And I think that's heroic, and I think that took courage, and I think it can affect his bottom line at the end of the day, and he didn't care. And I hope that he goes on this season to be very successful, so his message, I hope he keeps doing it, and he has a good season, and people start, and he gets more high profile, and more high profile, and more high profile. And other athletes start doing it too, because I think that can start to make change. Because First of all, the national anthem, to me, is like the Pledge of Allegiance. They're both disgusting, and they're vile, and they're all about patriotism and jingoism and the military. And you always see the military holding the flags when they're doing the ceremonies in the beginning of every. I mean, you can watch the Lions versus some shitty game at the end of the season that nobody's watching, and the military a guy from the Marine Corps will be there holding the American flag, and another guy from some fucking part of the military will be holding another flag, and they'll have somebody sing the national anthem, but it will always be military people there. You'll always see that. Why? And this really started after 9/11 heavy. I mean, they always did the national anthem before the games, but not like they did after 9/11. Now it was just shoved down your throat. Now they actually, on the national broadcasts of the shows, of the pregame, will show the national anthems. When they used to not really, I mean, not all the time, but they show the national anthems. And they used to not do that. To show the national anthems. They're disgusting. Our national anthem has the word bombs in it. We're so warlike that and then I have to watch these athletes who are doing it to get more. Kudos to Colin Kaepernick, because I would much rather see what he did than these fake ass athletes who mouth the words to the national anthem when it's being played, and they act like they're really patriotic and they give a fuck. They don't fucking care. They do that because they know that looks good for Procter and Gamble, and that looks good for Nike, and that looks good for Coca-Cola. And McDonald's. And so, look at how nice he looks, mouthing the national anthem. What a patriotic, nice young man. A bunch of bullshit. So good for Colin Kaepernick. That took a lot of fucking balls, and I don't care what you say. National anthems, pledges of allegiance. I used to work in schools. I was a contractor in schools, and we used to we were told that we needed to, when the national anthem, when the Pledge of Allegiance came on, we need to put our hand over our heart and do the do the Pledge of Allegiance. And one day, I never did it. I just kept working through. And then one day, the guy comes up to me, another fellow contractor, he's like, hey, man, you need to, when the Pledge of Allegiance goes, and I said, first of all, no, I don't. I said, secondly, are you out of your mind? I said, pledging allegiance to a country? Could you think of anything more fascist, more evil, more communist sounding, more totalitarian sounding than pledging your allegiance to a country? What kind of silly shit is that? And then you throw God in it. Then you make it supernatural. You make it like America has some destiny. Like, and one nation under God. I mean, in a public school. I'm out. I'm an atheist. I'm out at that point anyway. So I don't take any of it seriously. It's like going to court and swearing on a Bible. You can swear on a Bible all you want. I don't believe that thing is even. What am I swearing on? The belief of somebody, the belief of authority. So we have a blind male, white authority, European authority telling you. I mean, it's completely silly. And when people like Colin Kaepernick come out and defy authority, it's awesome, and it needs to happen more. So kudos to Colin Kaepernick, and I hope he continues to fucking do it. And I'm getting me a Colin Kaepernick jersey. Yeah. Although I'm not the kind of person who wears dudes' jerseys, because I find that a little bit... Like, there's nothing weird than fanboy who's wearing a fucking jersey of, like, Rob Gronkowski like he's his girlfriend. It's creepy. Why don't you just wear his Letterman jacket? Fucking creepy motherfucker. Thanks for listening.